yeah, they just started talking about, one of them asked the other if they had gotten the sentient mannequin dream that every they them gets and every trans person gets, because apparently it's some prophetic dream that you get to tell you that you are a they them and you have no gender, because it's a mannequin that is like sentient like a horror flick, and it's supposed to represent not having genitals.
Hey everybody, I caught myself another one, and this one is going to be awesome as well. So, just before we move forward with our guest today, I just want to say thanks again, everybody, for the supporting this channel. You're really helping it grow tremendously. It's actually crazy. I mean, I'm getting reported a lot, just so you all know. So, just know that we're doing something right because those people have their eyes on us and they're trying desperately to shut this channel down. So, I want that to be out there, and I want you all to know that. So, with that, like, subscribe, do all those things. It really helps me a lot. I do appreciate it so much and show this stuff to people who might need to see it. So, with that, I have this beautiful new friend of mine called Lizzie. And Lizzie will introduce herself and then we'll move forward with the conversation. So, hi, Lizzie. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm an ex, not really ex, but cosplayer and artist.
Okay,
I really am a creative person, so I've kind of
great.
seen a lot of stuff. A
Yeah,
lot of
stuff.
this stuff creeping in way before it even went major mainstream. So I think I've got a lot of little details we're missing.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for contacting me and wanting to do this. And so are you in the trans community or are you more like we're in the cosplay community?
The cosplay community.
Okay.
I was kind of intermingling in the gay community and the cosplay community, and that
Okay.
was about 10, it's been almost 10 years since I last
Oh.
went to a convention,
Oh
and it was
wow.
really, really affecting my mental health, because they either didn't want me to talk about it because I thought I was trans when I was a teen because of
How old, do
sexual
you mind me
assault.
asking how old you are?
I'm 33,
Okay.
33
You're
this year.
33, so when you were like in your early 20s or something,
Yeah,
yeah, okay. Great. So
from the
you started
ages
to
of
get
12 to 24. 24 is when I had a
Oh,
boyfriend that actually cared about me. We're not together anymore, but I do
okay.
credit him for helping me get out of that space.
Wow. That's so I do notice that the cosplay community sort of overlaps with the trans community. Is that right?
Well, it does. And really lately, sometimes I'm looking at these crowds when they're at these rallies and they're yelling at people and all that stuff. I can't tell the difference between an anime convention and them anymore, except there's not like big swords walking around, right?
Yeah,
That's,
right.
yeah.
Right. So I want to say this before we move on. So cosplay is a thing, but as many people know, that I was also in the adult entertainment space for many years of my life, and also, in certain spaces that are personal and private. But that being said, there were people there who we called furries. And
Mm-hmm.
furries was in the adult space and it still is. And it was considered an adult entertainment space where people would dress up like animals, right? And have sexual experiences.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw that in the adult space. So when I saw it kind of leak over into trans and call it cosplay, I was like, wait a minute, this is furries and
It
this is
used to freak me
adult.
out because there were some furries in the anime convention that didn't do any of that stuff, and they really just enjoyed the
Sure,
process of making the
sure,
costumes, and I get
sure.
that, but they can't keep
No.
glossing over how sexual it actually is. When I was watching these people get attention from kids, and you could smell their costumes, like after using it all weekend, you could smell it. So
Oh,
it was just
God. Ugh.
awful.
So it was actually happening at those cosplay. How could it not? I mean, that the furry stuff infiltrated into the cosplay stuff, and there are minors, aren't there minors in
There's a
the
lot
cos?
of minors. I witnessed, well, it wasn't really witnessing, it was
Wow,
hearing about all these orgies
wow.
that were going on in the hotels. There were a lot
That's
of
right.
14, 15, 16 year
That's
olds.
right.
A lot of them were groomed to sex work with the
Oh
cosplay
my God.
community, and they would hide all this stuff from their parents.
Oh
And
my
their
God.
parents didn't know. They thought they were going to the safe thing,
That's
and
right.
I thought it was safe in the beginning. Like, I'm always cautious of every event I go to, but
Sure.
it just kept bleeding into the crowds, and that's all anybody would talk. They'll scream about sex and hentai. You can't even watch one of those YouTube videos anymore without just seeing absolute rudeness and personal questions and
Wow, this is so, thank you, because I haven't met somebody yet who has actually been in one of those conferences. I went to one just for because I wanted to see it many like
yeah,
20 years ago. And I was
back when
like,
it was
what?
good, but it was weird.
But it was literally weird and good. Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
only adults. No way would kids be allowed. So I get it now because now the furries can infiltrate the cosplay because it's considered
There
cosplay
was this
and they're
whole
just
thing
wearing
about,
costumes.
oh,
Oh, did it go out?
losing you a bit.
Hold on.
Oh,
Just keep talking because
okay.
it's just cycling through. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, no
Yeah.
worries. Yeah, but it's there was this whole P thing that was really popular for a while, and it was like this
What?
stamp on the internet that was a bear, and it was under the guise of trying to like you'd use the stamp as a GIF if you found a PETA, and if it was on their page, then they were accused of
Oh
being a
my
PETA.
God.
Then it was used as a PETA thing. And people would dress up in these bears, and sometimes they were fine. They thought it was funny, and they weren't going to hurt anybody. But sometimes some predators would use that PETA costume, and it's right there. It's in the name to get pictures with kids.
Oh, this is so sick. It's just upsetting to me
Yeah.
that those two worlds collided, and now it's just given a free for all for the P. I call them the P people, but you know what I
hmm
mean? Yeah, it's
Well,
given
there
them.
was a while when that was happening that they had actually put the P in the LGBTQ list, and they got away with it for a while.
Yeah, back in the day they tried that in my time, but we were like, get out of here. We will not even tolerate that. And but then now they're changing it to the word maps to try
Maps.
to hide it. And we're all, sorry, you can change the packaging all you want, but the inside is still real, and we
And
see
I
it.
and I'm such a nerd for maps. Like now that I look at a map, I'm like, ugh.
I
Why'd you
know,
ruin the word
but they
map?
always have to ruin everything. They ruin everything.
They
They just,
do.
they're disgusting people. So, I think one of the other things that we wanted to discuss today, I think I was doing a live or something, and somehow I think it was it you who
Yeah.
texted, who said something in the chat about this mannequin thing, and I remember it caught my eye. I was like, what? And so I think that when I told you to send me an email, and then that's how we started our conversation, and I would love for you to sort of let's get into
Go
that
over it.
particular thing because that just somehow caught my eye in a way that I think it might be quite fascinating for people to hear this. So why don't you
Yeah,
tell that story?
for sure. So this, I guess, happened about a month ago now. I was at work, and we have headsets for the drive-through. We're like fast food kind of deal.
Okay, great.
Um, and a lot of people use it for conversations when we shouldn't be doing it, when we should be focusing on work. And all of a sudden, I hear, "Did you get that?" Because they were talking about being they, them, trans, whatever.
Oh
And
God. Oh, on the headset. Oh, so all of you
yeah,
at work have headsets on, and then they're just chatting, and doing their sort of personal chatting
oh
during,
yeah,
and
they
everyone with a
overshare
headset.
on that.
So,
Everyone with a headset can hear it.
oh my God. Okay, so the they them trans were started to talk,
Boasting about it.
posting about
And
what? About what?
boasting about just being a they them and how hard it is and how their parent and I like for last week I'm glad we rescheduled because I really like took time to think about it. I didn't want them to think I hated them. I think they're a decent
No,
person, and
sure.
if they see this I'm sorry. But yeah, they just started talking about one of them asked the other if they had gotten the sentient mannequin dream that every they them gets and every trans person gets, because apparently it's some prophetic dream that you get to tell you that you are a they them and you have no gender, because it's a mannequin that is like sentient like a horror flick, and it's supposed to represent not having genitals or an energy. But
Okay, holy moly. This
and
is
this is the
actually
second
creepy.
time yeah, it is. It's weird. It is like a horror film. And apparently a lot of people get this. I don't know if some of them are lying.
Apparently, apparently.
And I used to like do read dreams and stuff. Like I'm also into like the
Sure.
psychic world. I was a tarot reader for a while, but like that was if mannequin dreams came up, it meant like you were stunted in something and you weren't letting something go forward. Like it was a
Okay.
very different meaning
Okay.
like 10, 20 years ago.
Well, they just read. redefined it like they do with everything else. So now this mannequin dream is supposed to be the special dream you get, which puts the stamp of approval on you that you truly are non-binary. Is
Hmm.
that this is actually
And
insane.
a lot of these people claim that they're psychic, and I'm not saying psychics don't exist. I think I am to
They
some
exist.
degree.
They
Yeah,
exist totally.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I've even had to deal with that community's going crazy too.
Of
They're
course.
crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of these they thems are in that community, but very shallowy. And then
My
they
God.
think they're only listening to dreams and signs when it suits what they want. They rewrite the
That's
meanings
right.
of it.
That's right. That's right. Typical. That's what
They
they
do
do
a
with
lot of
everything.
shadow work, which is not healthy if you're just mulling around all the time.
Well, a lot of this stuff is not necessarily healthy if you don't understand the difference between reality and messing around. Now, you got to be careful messing around with that stuff. It can get
Mm-hmm.
dark and deep and
It
you
does.
can get sucked into it
It
and
causes a lot of depression.
yes, that is
Yep,
right. So this is starting to really kind of make sense to me why a lot of these young people seem to be depressed and seem to be very dark. They seem to be dark. They don't seem to be happy. They seem to
mm-mm.
be sucked into some negative energy field. And right, that's just
No,
my
it
thought.
absolutely is. And as someone who can feel energies, they're turning themselves into emotional vampires,
Right.
and they're always seeking a refill fix on their energy because they're not all of them are eating properly, and they're not getting any
No,
energy, and they're not taking care of themselves. So
no,
they're
they're
like
not.
seeking. It's almost like the high they get from getting approval
Right.
is filling the fact that they didn't eat breakfast that day.
Right.
Like there's
Right.
so much weird mental things about this.
Wow, it's so shocking. So here you are at your job, and they're all talking. This one is talking to another one. So are they two like non-binaries that
One
work
of
there?
them's a she they, and the other one's a they them.
But how are you a she they? I don't understand.
She's very, very normal.
So let me. So if you are a she they, and I call you a she, then I'm not misgendering you, am I?
Exactly, but they get upset about it. What I found too,
So
we
I don't
also
get
they don't
it.
work there anymore, but we had one that kept changing their pronoun all the time. And then at one point they settled and they said, "Okay, I'm okay with all three of them, but you have to randomize it." So if you said the same one too many times in a row, then they also got upset.
Oh, that mental illness is insane. No, I'm not playing your game, dude
No,
or
we did it.
woman or whatever. I'm not. I'm
Well,
not
and
playing
I
it.
ended up doing that a lot. I said, "Hey man, sup man," like I would use that, and I already talk like that anyway, so it was easy
Totally.
for me to just like fuck off.
It's just you see the entitlement to make us do the work for them. Like, nope, nope,
It's
not happening.
narcissism.
It's so narcissistic and insane, and they keep moving the goalposts every week. So it's like I don't even know what to do anymore. And that's pretty much I can tell you, Lizzie. I see people are getting so fed up with this that it's going to be over by the end of the year. I
Oh
pretty
yeah, even
much
people at
believe
work are
that.
starting to feel more safe saying things. Like they
That's
know
right.
that I'll talk about it
Good for
in
you.
an adult manner. I'm not
Good
going to
for
be
you.
screaming. And that's the
No,
thing is the people
no.
that scream about it also don't help our cause, even if they're on our side,
That's
because
right. You can't do that. That's
no.
right. Everything you have to be calm in order to create change. You also have to be able to willing to have a conversation about it, and you don't have to agree, but we have to get to some sense of being able to say I don't really agree with you, and that's okay. And if your pronouns are she they, I will choose she. So how about
Hmm.
that? And don't
Exactly.
force me to call you something else. And I dealt with that early in my transition. I dealt with a lot of misgendering. It's part of transition, by the way. And if you
Hmm.
can't handle it, you shouldn't be transitioning because
No.
transitioning is hard. It's not easy. And this idea that everyone has to bow over to you or bow down to you makes no sense to me in any way, shape, or form. So the mannequin dream is happening. Pardon me. What's happening there? You're just listening and like hearing all
Yeah,
of
they're
this
going on.
information.
They're getting really worked up about it. They're like hyperventilating, excited, like, "Oh my God, I'm meeting a celebrity" kind of energy, and like
Wow.
it's they're so disconnected from reality, and the cognitive dissonance is insane.
That's
Because these
right.
are smart people. I love
I
their
agree.
personalities otherwise,
Hmm.
but they let it take over everything. And like if they're in trouble, they don't like getting in trouble either. So like if
Right.
they're and even if it's not even that big of a deal, if they're
Right.
getting in trouble, they like get back. they go down the rabbit hole of all the horrible things that have ever happened to them, and then sit at, oh my God, my, and when I go home, I'm having such a bad day, and my parents are definitely gonna misgender me and dead name me, and I don't want to go home, but I don't want to be here. Like it always, even if it's like, oh, please don't put that cup there, or like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It just says so much to me. It's a very specific kind of person who is choosing the
Hmm.
non-binary trans identity. It is. I'm watching, and you just nailed it on the head. They're very overly sensitive about everything. They're very victim-y. They feel as if the whole world is against them. Do you
And they
think that?
actually have so much support. Oh, sorry.
No. They have so much support, but they want more. So, do you think that they all sort of talk to each other in this way that creates these rules, or because it's ever changing?
And
I
I
don't
think they go,
understand.
but yeah, I think they go by it by the skin of their neck. I think they change. Yeah, they
But
change it in these conversations, and they're talking so fast and with so much
yeah,
emotion that they're not really listening to each other either while they're talking. They're just kind of answering each other, and I've seen them get annoyed with each other constantly as well
yeah,
because it didn't fit this that they read here, and it's a lot
right.
of like, I read this on the internet, so it's true, but then someone else will read something else about it, and then they'll clash because it's slightly off,
That's right. I see that. They fight amongst themselves.
and
I
it's
do
getting
see that.
worse.
Well, that's good because that will be the crumble. That will be the
Yep.
downfall. They'll eat each other up, and then it will just disappear. Because so, do you also think that there's a specific type of young person who is latching on to this identity choice?
Yeah, and it seems to be like 1995 born where it gets worse. Like there's definitely
Oh,
people in my age group that did it and are still
okay,
kind of into it, and you
okay,
see those like 40-year-olds that fall for it too. It's not just one, but I am no we were talking about it, my friend and I, the other day,
yeah,
and it does seem to be like 27, 28 and under.
and under, right. That's creepy when there's 27 and 28 identifying as non-binary. Honestly, I kind of
It's
wrap my,
strange.
it is, I can wrap my head around a younger person because this identity you're growing, there's a lot, but a 27 or 28-year-old non-binary, I met a 40-year-old non-binary. I was like, okay, what is going on with you, my friend?
But they
Got some,
have, yeah, they haven't grown up. That's one thing I've
no.
noticed. They haven't, they're still in that teenager mentality. And
Yeah.
my town is very teenagery. Like it's very,
Okay.
like even, like all my older cousins are still in high school in their minds, and they act like they're in high school, and they hold grudges like they're in high school.
Right,
It's,
right. Right. Immature. It's immaturity. We're not teaching young people how to become mature, which is
no.
such a bad situation. It's gonna come
I'm
so
so
hard.
lucky my mom raised me well. I really am.
So when you were sort of identifying under this stuff, what was going on with your mom, or were people just kind of going along with it, or how was it
I
how
didn't talk about it to too many people other than her. She
okay.
would talk to me about the serious aspects of it, and but she was supportive.
Okay, great. Great.
But she was awesome, and now she's very against this fakeness of it. And she even told me the other day, she's like, they don't even realize how supportive we are of their community. Like they don't
That's
realize who
right.
they're screwing with
They
because
don't.
they lost really good allies in us.
That's right. That's right. A lot of us, I know in the early on, I don't care about, I do not actually care how somebody identifies. I really do
Mm-mm.
not. What I care about is when you start putting your beliefs on me. And that's with anything. You
Me too.
cannot
Yeah.
force me to believe in something I
Even
don't
with
believe.
video games, if I don't want to play the same video game, you don't need to have a meltdown about it. Like
I know the
people find
immaturity.
out that you play games and then they want you to be in on theirs, but you're not really into that
Well, the,
genre or whatever,
that
you
whole
know.
gaming world is also toxic as
And a
heck.
lot of them are into the they them stuff too. And it's these people that are still living at home, haven't really left or came back, and there's nothing wrong with that, but
No,
the
of course
way
not.
that they're doing it is
Yeah,
immature.
yeah, I do notice that a lot of some of these older people do tend to be sort of unable to live on their own. And not that they have some kind of mental health problem. They're just immature and they haven't moved out of mommy's basement yet. And they're
And
just
that
playing
they don't
video
want to
games.
adult. They don't want to adult. And I'm like, it's not that hard to pay a bill. Do not have
But
to
why would
freak
you
out
do it
about
when
it.
mommy Yeah, but why would you do it when mommy and daddy are going to pay for everything? You know, if you
Hmm.
also look at the demographic of a lot of these people that I see, they seem to be people who are not struggling financially or not they're in a space where they can do these kind. A lot of these kids are come from, middle to upper class families and
They're
because you
very
don't
well off. Yeah.
they're mostly, I swear, I see it like it's a very white space. It's very, and not, I hate to always throw color,
No,
but
I know.
that's a real thing. And it's a very middle to upper class. They're not, there, a lot of these kids are in nice colleges. Like it just feels so much of a very specific kind of young person who's very entitled
It is.
behavior.
And
Yeah,
because of the way I look, I'm blonde haired, blue eyed
right,
naturally. Like,
right.
people look at me and go, oh, you're that stupid thing that I see on the internet that we all need to hate now. And I
That's
didn't
right.
grow up like
That's
rich
right.
whitey.
Yeah, that's right.
So I feel
Yeah.
very disconnected from everybody right now.
Well, you get shoved, it's like I do. I get shoved into space because I'm trans, right? So that's why we need to start to speak out about things and not be lumped in because we look or we are, or you know what I mean? Not
Hmm.
not all everyone in every community. There's no such thing as that. It's like not, they don't all agree on everything, right? Every group of people. And there's a lot of trans people who don't agree with what's going on today, but they're scared to speak up. Like it's just hard to speak
Yeah.
up now because you'll get attacked.
Well, I find that people are constantly coming to me because they know my stance on things.
Yeah,
Or
great.
even if they don't know my stance on things, they feel comfortable enough to like kind of meekly say something and like test the
Great.
waters. So
Great.
I do have a lot of people coming, and I'm consoling a lot of people in this and helping them deal with it in diplomatic ways.
Great. We need more people. Young people especially need people like you where they
Thank
think,
you.
well, I'm not really into this, and like how do we find another group of people like you that say, well, I used to identify or I was in that and I'm not in it anymore. And then they would feel very comfortable to because I think a lot of these kids don't want to be in it anymore, but I
No.
think that they don't also want to be attacked,
Mm-mm.
right? Because they
No, and
get
they also
attacked.
don't have the meter I have. Like, if I'm getting too bullied in anything, I'm like, whoa, 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 this feels just as bad as the way I was feeling before I was here.
Yes,
Move
that's
on.
true. But like if you leave, like I'm going to use detransitioners as a example. If they leave, if they decide they're not trans, they get so nailed by that trans community. It's absurd. So I think people see that and then maybe they don't want to identify, but let's say all their friends are trans and non-binary and queer and they just don't feel I think it's too scary for them to leave, so they sort of go along with it.
Yeah,
Does that
absolutely.
make
Because they
sense?
feel like their friends have gaslit them already in every
That's right.
aspect of their life,
That's right.
everything. And they have made people feel like they have nothing. And these are a lot of kids that do have a weird household. Maybe not,
Yeah,
maybe
sure,
they're getting everything
sure.
physically that they need, but the
Yeah.
emotions aren't there, or they're getting screamed at all the time. So they feel like because they're having fun with these people that they need to keep them.
Well, yeah, it's their family because you're right. I do notice some of these kids do come from broken families or families that are fighting all the time, so they find solace in like sort of and the gaming community is huge with non-binary and they
Mhm.
them and trans
And
and
it's weird to me because a lot of the games that I grew up playing, I played a lot of
yeah,
Japanese role-playing games.
okay,
They warned us about stuff like this. Like these games talk about like governments that are tyrannical, you fight up against
wow,
medicines that are bad for you, you fight against people doing medical experiments.
that's fascinating.
Like we have all these tools, and these games are such good, rich stories involving these kinds of things. Like we should have known, I've referenced them going back and thinking of all this, and so much of
Right.
this is reminding me of a video game.
Wow, that's fascinating. Well, my kid plays video games, but he's not playing any. I always ask him, are there any weirdo non-binary characters? He's like, no, because I hear that they're putting trans and non-binary characters in
I
these
thankfully haven't
games.
played any. They are,
Wow,
but I
wow,
haven't really been interested in those ones. I'm still really into
yeah,
just the like the turn-based,
the
the
regular ones,
fantasy. Yeah.
the
Thankfully, they
normal.
still exist. Japan, thank you.
Right on. I'm taking my kid to Japan in June. Let me,
Really?
yeah, totally, because it's such a
That's
beautiful. If you've
cool.
never been, save all your money
Mm.
one day and go because it's also honestly one of my. I've been there many times. It's one of my favorite
I've
places to
always
go.
wanted
It's
to go.
so
Yeah.
awesome. Um, Let's talk a little bit about you getting sucked into it when you were
Okay.
younger. I want to know a little bit how that happened and why you think that happened.
So, my dad sex assaulted me a lot. It was a lot of
Oh
borderline
no.
stuff, like
Oh
poking me
no.
really hard. And I can talk about it just fine now. I'm
Okay.
pretty healed
Okay.
from it.
Great. Thank
But
you.
a lot of poking, pulling me onto his lap while and a lot of mass on me, a lot of awful, awful things.
Oh gosh.
And he still denies it to this day. I lost half that side of the family afterwards, like
I'm
when I came
sorry.
out about it. But
Oh gosh. I'm so sorry. That's too bad. Wow. They didn't believe you.
no, and I kept it from my mom because he was the type of person that was like, "Don't tell her things, or I'll get CAS to take you away from her." And like, I don't care if I have to take care of you, but you shouldn't be there. Like, don't tell her because of this. He used to pick
Wow.
me up drunk all the time and have to pull over to puke.
My God. How
And
old were you when this was happening?
oh, the entire time.
Oh no. Wow. I'm just so sorry, friend. No kid. No.
Thank you.
It's prevalent. It's out there. I hear a
No,
lot of these
and
stories.
I realized how prevalent it is because
Yeah.
since mine wasn't so severe
Yeah.
to well, there's a
No.
memory that I can't unlock and I don't want to. But
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
um I feel like even in that community, people go to the like people a lot of people react by becoming sex addicts, but I went the other way. I'm not
Hmm.
interested in anything.
Hmm. Oh, you just shut down.
Like I can still do it in relationships that are healthy, but I'm not like looking for it. I don't get those like crushes on people like people do.
Right.
But
Right. And how did that affect your dating space or your sort of
I think I get really nervous and I don't want people to touch me at first, like at all.
sure. That makes sense. Totally.
Yeah.
100%. That's the trauma right there.
And I don't want
100%.
people to look at things, and I'm much more comfortable in my body right now than I ever
Great.
was. And I'm like really proud of myself. But I was like, when I was 10, I was sticking socks down my pants and wearing baggy clothes and buzzing my hair
I
and you know,
see.
just really,
I see.
I was confused as to what I was going through. I think even back then, though, I knew that I was hiding.
Mhm. Sure, that
And
makes sense.
anytime someone gave me attention, because when I grew older and I started getting breasts, my dad would look at them and start crying and go, "Oh, I can't stop looking at those. This is weird."
Oh
He did
God.
that at my birthday in front of everybody one time.
Ew.
Yeah, and everyone just
Eh,
kind of went, that's
Uh,
weird."
inappropriate and weird,
I'm
dude.
gonna I'm gonna go in the living room now.
Oh my God, you got so sexualized. Wow. So, we talk about this a lot with young girls, and I think it does happen a lot with young girls. And they're sort of equating that today with this desire, what you just said, to wear baggy clothes, put something in there, not be a female, be a male, so you won't have these things happen. It does plug in for me. I can understand that why a
Hmm.
girl would not want. All of a sudden, when you start having puberty, right, your boobs grow. What just happened to you? It happened to me
Yeah,
too. You get sexualized as a girl when those
yeah,
things happen.
absolutely.
So it causes this trauma stuff that we're not talking about. We're not talking about these young kids who say they're trans. We're
No,
not putting them through any kind of therapy to understand.
and
We're
that's
just
what you
saying,
need.
affirm them. They're trans. Affirm them. They got stuff going on.
Hmm.
Transitioning isn't going to help them. It's actually going to
No,
make it worse.
no, in fact, and I'm wondering how many of these people have like Stockholm syndrome, because one of my therapists actually said I had it when I was
Wow.
talking to him. I was really lucky. There was a guy, an older guy, a Scottish guy, I think, in town.
Hmm.
He was a therapist, and he was an expert in the gender stuff.
Hmm.
But since he was an older guy, he would actually talk to me about it properly, and he helped me get
Hmm.
to this space where I was like, okay, you're right. I am hiding myself. I already had these thoughts. I shouldn't have doubted
Wow.
them.
Wow. Great. See, we need therapists like that who are willing to spend time with you and try to figure out what's the underlying thing going on here that's making you feel like a boy or a girl. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I didn't
Yeah.
transition until 30 and I did a ton of therapy
And I
prior
think
to
that
that.
works. And that was even what I was looking at. I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
research this more, maybe around that age. That was
Right.
around the age that this I would have started maybe 28.
Right.
But as
Right.
I was researching it and talking to people that weren't just going, yeah, sure,
That's right.
then I would,
Yeah.
and my mom was honest about it, but she was also scared and didn't want to step out over my toes, especially as I became an adult. So
Well, your mom sounds super cool, but
she's
also
awesome,
the
and
thing
she loves
is
you.
that, oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Yeah,
So that, you got to let girls, I don't know so much obviously about boys, but you got to let girls figure themselves out. And girls' puberty is 100% different than male puberty. I
hmm
mean, I don't care what anybody says. And for you to give medication to any child to stop, they love to call it pause. You
yeah.
can't pause puberty.
No,
It is so insane. And so, of course, any young girl's gonna who's struggling with her own self, also struggling with possibly some of that stuff happening to them as a kid. It's like the golden ticket from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like you just won
yeah.
the golden ticket. I get to be a boy now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane. It's not like, and some of them are into aliens, and they're looking. There's a lot of crazy people. I love aliens. I love all that stuff. But
yeah.
there's a lot of people
But
in that community that fully believe that we're gonna get like these tube, and maybe we will, but we're gonna get these like healing tubes that can change our body, and we can do whatever we want to them. So like they're waiting for aliens to come because they can get a new body.
wacky. Well, the thing is, we're telling young people that they can change their sex. You can't change your sex. So we're
No.
lying to them. I don't care how much you change your appearance. I'm not a man. I'm still a female. And it's so it upsets trans people so much when I say that, which gives me this understanding that they're not living in the reality of what trans is. They're
Well,
living on
no.
some other planet thinking that they're going to like that. That's why it's dangerous, friend. That's why it's dangerous. Even the cosplay thing to me is dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
so
I
with the
miss it when it was just doing that. But it's so
right.
so many of these people use that as a way to, and I didn't feel like I was using it to hide anything. I did buy a binder for my male costumes,
Okay. Okay.
but I never I would still crossplay. I would still do all that. It was fun. And even
Yeah.
those characters helped me realize that you can be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman and be a
Right.
little effeminate and be a little this, but still be proud and strong in who you are and who you were born as. But the same characters that I get that from, these
Yeah.
cosplayers are taking the completely opposite from them. They're saying, well, this is why I feel this way because I feel better when I'm in this costume. And yeah, you feel great. It encompasses acting and creativity when
Of
you're
course.
actually doing it right. But
Of course.
a lot of these non-binary ones don't even make their own costumes, so they don't feel the same connection to the character as someone like I would, and it's
I
just all
see.
very fleeting.
But it's also, pardon me, it also says to me that they're hiding from the world when they
Yes,
get into the costume. Because I don't know if you see my Master Chief. It's,
I do.
I
Yeah,
have a
I noticed
I have
that
a
last week
I have a whole
actually.
Master Chief because me and my kid, like early on when my kid was young, he would never go to Costco with me. So I'm like, dude, put your Master Chief outfit on. He'd be like, what? And then I would take him to Costco and Master
That's
Chief.
so
So I got one too.
cute.
It was just like so much
That is
fun.
so
But
cute.
that being said, I know what it feels like to put a costume on. It feels amazing because you're actually
Yeah,
hiding from the world, but you're this different person. But that is dangerous because we're not teaching these kids. So now the kids become synonymous with their costume and they don't ever want to get out of their
I
costume. And then,
even saw, I should see if I can find it for you. I saw a
yeah.
CBC thing on cosplay and non binary. Like it was an actual
Oh,
interview
great.
with cosplayers
Oh,
who
great.
were saying that this is how I became trans because it made me realize who I am. And I'm like, no,
What?
you just like Naruto and you like pretending to be Naruto.
Oh, my
You have to take
God.
Naruto off.
What the heck? It helped me understand why I was trans.
Yeah,
Those
I should send
words.
you this.
Send
It's
it to me because that just plugs a lot in
bonkers.
it just shows that we're letting these kids go nuts. And where are the adults? Why are
Oh, they
adults?
are adults.
I know it's so sick. It's so
Right.
sick
I
in my
say that all
mind.
the time. I'll be around a bunch of 30-year-olds and I can't believe how immature they're being. I'll be like, I need an adult. Please send me adult. I want an adult. Please.
Wow.
I'm so sick of this.
It's like we're telling people that they never have to grow up. That's
hmm
kind of what it is, which is super dangerous.
It's
And
very much Peter Pan like.
that's right. That they a lot of people use that analogy, the Peter Pan thing, like just never growing up. I'm always a kid. Woo! It's so creepy.
It
It's
is.
I mean, growing up and becoming mature is all. I love being 61. Never would I think that in a million years.
I can't wait till I retire. If the I want government money, giving me government money, and then I can do all my crafts on the side.
There you go. Like, there is nothing wrong with being older. In fact, God, thank you, I transitioned 30 years ago because I would hate to be a young person struggling because I would be one of those kids. I'm telling you, I was
I
struggling
would
with
too.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
missed it just like this. I saw the beginning of it and it was so insane. And when I was trying to figure it out, I thought this community would help me. Like I would ask questions and they'd be like, "If you don't know, then you're just faking it. If you don't know, you're
Yeah.
just And then I was like, "Okay, I can't find help here."
That's right. Yeah.
And I just
That's
wanted to talk about it. I figured if I got other people's experiences, I would figure out whether I was or not.
you're just too smart for your age on some level. Seriously. And then that's
Thank
what's
you.
happened is that you were, and I could see even super smart kids get sucked into this on many levels because I think also community
Hmm.
young people are always looking for community, and if you're a little bit of a weirdo in any way shape or form or don't fit into the conventional way, then of course you're going to see cosplay, you're going to see they them, you're going to see all of the you're going to see it as a very positive space, and also because they give you so much affection, right? Like
Yes.
just, oh, you're
And I
non-binary.
love
Oh,
hugs. I do. But they're creepy hugs. These people have creepy hugs.
now hugs are really important, but now I think when everything is so creepy, we can't even be giving hugs because it
No,
just it's
they
the
had
creep level.
they had this whole thing cause cosplay isn't consent started going viral because people were starting to get sexually assaulted a lot at these places. So there's banners everywhere at Anime North and Fan Expo. Cosplay isn't consent. But what they're doing is the
Wow.
people that are for this or talk about it
Yeah,
all the time, they'll
yeah.
come up to you and ask for consent to touch you, but touch you while they're asking you before you even answer. So this they're
My
using they're I
God.
asked you for consent. Why are you getting upset?
Oh
They're
my
abusing
God.
everything.
Everything. So that, like I said earlier, I was in the adult space where I would go to parties like these, and that was always number one. You could not do anything without asking somebody first. And consent means you wait. It's a very specific thing, and it's very important in those kind of environments because or else
Hmm.
everyone would be doing weird stuff to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But oh wow, it blows my mind how it literally went from the adult space.
I should tell you about the yaoi paddle.
Yes, tell me.
The yaoi is like boy love in Japan.
Okay, right.
So they used to have these big wooden paddles that they would sell in the artist alley, and they actually got banned from most conventions I went to because people were using these in their whatever spaces. Fine, whatever, use it for your
Okay.
what
Okay.
you want. But they were going
Okay.
out and they were running up to people and smacking them, people they
No.
didn't even know,
No.
as hard as they could, and then going hee hee hee, you just had gay sex.
Oh my, you see that? It's just you're destroying so much of what we built to make it safe for people to play in spaces that they want to try something or you know what I mean? Or they just and then if you make it feel unsafe the whole time, no one's gonna go. That this is what causes problems. I'm telling you, when you give people a safe space to play and do things and what some people might find
No
weird,
boundaries.
that's right. Then you teach people how to do that. But when you start breaking those boundaries like that, then it literally destroys what has been built for people to have a safe adult space to play in. I
Yeah.
cannot stand that cosplay as part of the trans
And I
narrative
know
now.
why people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to be associated with it if they don't do that kind of stuff and they
Mm-hmm.
want to just gloss it over and not think about it. But we have to start, like, it's getting worse. It's festering. It's been festering for years. We need to start outing it, advertising it to families.
What? So,
Yeah, come hug a
the-
cosplayer. Yeah, Fan Expo did that a couple of years ago in the Toronto
okay,
Sun or something.
okay, I'm over it. I'm doing a whole thing on it. I'm going to do some deep dives on this. That is inappropriate.
Hmm.
Nope, it's inappropriate. So when you're there, there's also adults in costume, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, and these like little they call themselves like they're so gay. Oh my God. They're little groups where all of
Okay.
them are bisexual and they're cosplaying Hetalia, they're cosplaying Naruto, Pokemon, whatever. They'll just like sit in the middle of the Congress Center and hump each other in the corner while everybody's walking by, little kids, moms.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I had to leave a lot of groups. I have gone through so many friends because it just got to the point where I was like, I can't sit here and watch you guys do this.
Who runs these places? Like, what is happening?
People that don't care. Anime North, the one that I go to mostly, is a
Anime.
non-profit organization that I'm pretty sure is profiting
I'm
off of
going.
it. But
I'm going to one. I'm going to one, and I'm
yeah,
going to see what's going on there, and I'm going to expose this because I cannot. This is not right that children. I get it. Children want to dress up in costumes. It's totally awesome, but adults shouldn't be in there dressed in a costume. That is creepy and
no,
weird.
and it got really creepy. There was this one guy that ran the panels. His online name was Fingers Delirium. No one knew who he looked like. No one ever, I think some people met him in person, but he was never around there. Suddenly he started banning filming from inside the rooms when we were holding these panels, and it was because
Okay.
people were getting too sexual and they were posting it on the internet. Now instead of going, don't do that in this
Yeah.
space,
Yeah.
it is an all ages space, they were like,
Okay.
just stop filming it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It. Who's ever doing these things? They're part of that problem.
I
They
think there's
are.
a lot. I
They
had
are.
had the gut feeling that there's a lot of trafficking going on in these events, but I
Wow.
haven't been able to prove it yet.
Well, because that's going to take a little time, but I will almost guarantee you 100% it's happening for sure. You don't let adults and kids into the same space. Like, everybody knows that's creepy. If adults want to play, like I told you, furries, they have their own space to do that. But no adult should be in a space that kids are playing and having a great time, and then some weirdo adult in a costume. We don't even know if they're adults. Once you put the costume on, you can't tell who that person is.
No, no.
That's what I'm saying. It's like literally an invitation for a P person, right? Like, I'm gonna go to the cosplay, and no one's
Oh, we're
even gonna
looking at
know.
this smorgasbord.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Oh, dude, I swear to God, I can't wait for people to see this because I bet a lot
Oh,
of people think
cool.
this is going on, but we're not really focused on it for some reason. I don't know. The minute I heard cosplay, I was like, that's furries. That came
Mm-hmm.
from adult sexual space. What's happening? And then,
Well, yeah. Technically, the term was coined in some Star Trek convention, and it was less nefarious, but it was like 1980s.
sure, I can see that.
But
Yeah,
it's
that's before the
definitely,
internet. The,
yeah.
the problem is the internet. The internet has just ruined everything on so many levels. It has given too much leeway for the weirdos to
Yeah,
infiltrate every community, not just trans, but
and they're good
look at
at it. They're
they're good
very,
at it.
very skilled,
They
and
are.
you have to know how to recognize it. I've for years gone through comments and seen something, and I won't. I'm unrelenting. I don't stop bugging
Thank
them
you.
back in the same way that
Thank
they're
you.
bugging other people. I've been a
Thank
very
you.
big on defending young people on the internet for a very long
Right.
time, and
Thank
it's
you.
exhausting. But I can't stop doing it.
It's exhausting, but we have to do it as adults. No one's sticking up for these poor young kids being sucked into trans or cosplay or whatever the heck's non-binary. Again, I don't care if you identify as non-binary. What I care about is these weird things that you're attaching to it and then also indoctrinating. I don't
Hmm.
like that. I don't like indoctrination. If you are trans, you're going to know it. If you're gay, you're going to know it. If you're whatever, you're going to know it, right? You don't need somebody to tell you that. That's why I
No.
know these kids aren't trans. They're being told they are.
And they're not even, some of them aren't even really going through the things that I went through. Some of the people have never been through anything.
No, that's right. It's why because they're just taking it on as an identity because
Yeah.
it's the cool thing to be right now. And that's the dangerous part. When something becomes cool and hip, that can be very dangerous because then you're just taking on an identity that you have no idea what you're talking about.
No, like they can't even enjoy Pokemon the same way that they used to. I complimented one of their little keychains one time, and they were like, "It's the non-binary Pokemon." I'm like, "That came out in those colors before you guys even took that flag. So don't even tell me that they made a non-binary Pokemon for you 10 years ago.
Wow,
It's just that color."
that's right. You see what they do though? They totally do that with everything.
And it
They
pisses me off because that's my favorite color combination. I love wearing that color.
I know.
together.
They ruined the flag. They ruined so much stuff. And then there's a flag for everything, even
And
for
it
P people.
changes.
It
Yeah.
changes. You're right. And you know they
Because
made a
I
flag for
remember that
cisgender
same
people.
trans flag or
It's
what, the
black,
non-binary.
white, and
It
gray.
used to be bisexual. Yeah. What? So we're boring? Is that what I'm just trying to say?
No, they're jealous. They're jealous of bisexual people because you get everything. That's what I love about it. You're just jealous. Don't try it.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, how did we get here? It's shocking.
We let it, well,
Yeah,
I didn't mean to let it. Like, I
none of
definitely
us
spoke out
did.
a little bit, but I feel like everybody noticed signs and just were like, ah, it's fine, it'll go away. And then it didn't.
It got worse. So
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick here to this mannequin dream. Have you read online or have you seen that this is like so big within the non-binary space that everybody's talking about it?
I can't find the Reddit articles that I
Oh, it was a
saw
Reddit.
directly
Okay,
after, but I know
right.
they're out there somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna look for it.
And I don't have as much time to like research
No,
online
no,
as I used to.
don't
But
worry about it. I'll take care of it. So it was a Reddit space where people were talking about the mannequin dream, and that if you have the mannequin dream, then that
mhm.
solidifies that you're actually really non-binary.
I
Is
know.
that the, what?
I'm pretty sure they see it on TikTok and like, but I don't
I,
have TikTok, so
Yeah, I do. Only try to save the kids on there. I just go on
yeah,
as Trampaw and push back on all of them.
I
I'm like,
love
you don't know what
that.
you're talking about. Okay, I transitioned 32 years ago. Let's talk. And then they'll be like, you're transphobic. I'm just like, this is so good.
It is. I showed my friend a video of one of those one days when you were being called that and you reacted to it, and she's like, "But I'm trans. What are you talking about? I'm trans." This guy, this doesn't make sense.
I know. I'm like, I do it. Like, keep calling me transphobic because I just throw it to the world so the world can be like, oh my God, these people are nuts.
Well, eventually, like their arrogance will befall them. They'll say it so many times that it
That's
won't mean
right.
anything anymore to us,
That's
and it
already
won't
pretty
affect
much.
people in the same way. It
No, it doesn't
is, yeah.
affect people anymore. When people are
No.
called transphobic, they laugh, right? Because it
Hmm.
means nothing. They took away the actual power of that word. That word means zero. When you start calling an actual elder transsexual transphobic, you've lost the game. They've lost. They're so dumb.
Absolutely.
They didn't keep me on their team, and they don't, now they're
No.
going to lose because I am the star quarterback, and I will.
I believe it.
I will. I will take your team out. So don't play that game with me.
I'll be
I'm
watching,
not kidding.
clapping.
No,
Yeah.
I will not. I'm tired of these kids being led down a false narrative, and it's hurting all of us, not just some of us. And
No.
it's become very toxic on so many levels, and it's just sad for me as somebody who this actually helped me a lot, and I value my transition a lot, and I don't take it for granted. So when
Oh,
I
and you
see
look
this,
great, and it
thank you,
feels
honey.
like you.
That's
Like
it. Is
I'm
yeah,
so
that's
into
right.
reading energy, and the energy I get off of you is male, and there is
Thank
probably
you.
some kind of spiritual thing involved in all of this. I really do think
Thank
that
you.
maybe even like past lives, maybe this is the first
Totally.
time you were a female, and maybe it doesn't
Totally.
feel right.
So many levels, and I think that just comes also with maturity and also understanding what trans is. I'm not a
Yeah.
man. I'm not a man. I never will be a man, and that's okay. I learned to accept that, right? What I learned to do was to sort of put on a costume on some level and walk the world in this costume that I never take off, and it makes me feel it's literally like cosplay on some level. I put that costume on and I feel like magic.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't do was tell the woman inside of me or the female inside of me that I hate you, get away from me, F off.
You're
I never
right.
said that to her. And in fact,
No,
I
it is
let her
such
join me.
self-hatred.
That's
Yeah, and that's
right.
what you have to do. And the funny thing is, they love this shadow work stuff, which is supposed to be integrating your dark self. And yeah, if you do that a little bit,
Little
over the
bit.
shadow work I heard about 20 years ago is not the same shadow work people are doing now. It's
They
just
renamed it.
rocking back and forth, crying, finding all the horrible things that are about you and trying to make sure it's okay and allowing yourself to be that way because you have to balance
Wow.
yourself with your shadow. And it's like, no, when I learned this stuff, we were supposed to fight our shadows and learn from it.
Wow. You see what they do? They co-opt all of this beautiful stuff and then they turn it into toxic nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's who's ever there is some weirdo adults who have manipulated this space for their own space and are using these kids to sort of create a bigger and you see what they're doing? They're using kids to make it so trans is huge, so that they could start changing laws and start doing all these things for the benefit of, I'm telling you, these are not trans women. These are AGP and cross dressers who have a
Oh yeah,
goal.
they're the male born ones are always really obsessed with my
Yeah,
breasts. And it's
that's
not
right.
just like a little bit of a jealousy thing. It's like staring at them all the time, wanting to touch
Yep,
them all the time, getting
yep,
really close and not really doing anything. There's like
that's
I
right.
have had to relive my sexual trauma more
I'm
now
sorry.
because they don't have any boundaries either.
Nope,
They're
none.
completely lost their minds.
Because they can, because no one's saying anything. That's why they took a little bit and they noticed, okay, we can take a little bit more, and nobody was saying, and a
Just
little
let
bit
me
more.
sprinkle this over everything and I'll get away with
That's
everything. Oh
right.
no, you can't say anything. I'm
Nope,
non-binary.
they did
I'm
it. They
trans.
shut everybody down. So
Yeah.
people are too scared to say anything. And I'm telling you, these are men who are not trans. They're men who are women haters, who want to be women so bad that they fetishize it. And it's obvious. These women, these trans women are destroying our space. And they're not real trans women like the women I know, like Blair White and a lot of my friends who
Love
are
Blair.
would never do that kind of stuff. And
And I know trans people that transitioned years ago, and even when I started
yep,
doing my tarot readings, a lot of my people were trying to figure out if they were trans, so they would come to me for a reading.
great.
And a couple of them were, and a couple of them weren't, but they both respected that, and it helped them. It was different.
Because they were grounded around it and they understand the work you have to do as a trans person. People, I keep saying that it's up to us to do the work, not you. You're sort of helping us to come into the world, but we're pushing against you, and now you're going to be like, F off. We don't want any trans people. You're all a bunch of weirdos. I don't blame you. It's so embarrassing to be trans now. I don't want to be. I don't
Oh,
want to be trans. It's embarrassing. Like
you're so
seriously.
needed though. Like this is your
Ugh.
destiny.
You get lumped in there.
Unfortunately.
With, unfortunately, you're
Yeah.
right. Unfortunately, I'm here at 61 for a reason. I know it.
Yeah.
um, so, Lizzie, thanks for your time. We'll end here right now. I do appreciate you bringing
Me
all this
too.
to the table and
Yeah.
talking about it. And do you think there's something you would want to say out there, maybe to the young generation or to anybody, or any kind of wisdom you think you would like to give?
Learn how to enjoy being yourself. Learn how to love the things around you.
Yeah,
If you've got all these things that you used to enjoy doing, focus in that stuff. Focus on your artwork, focus on your games in a healthy way. Focus on nature in a healthy way. Just
beautiful.
let yourself be yourself without having to label it.
Oh, thank you, friend. That means a lot to me, and that's what people need to hear, especially young people. So coming from a younger person, I think they're going to hear it more than when I say it. So it means a lot to me that you care, because you do
I
care,
do.
Lizzie. You do. And that means everything to me, and the fact that you would come up and have a conversation with me for the world to see. And everybody leave her beautiful comments because she stepped up, and it's not easy to do these interviews, and you put yourself out to the world, and you put yourself and you open yourself up to hate, but hopefully, I don't know, I
I'm
have such a
used to
cool
it.
channel. I have such a cool channel. I have to
Me
tell you,
too. I
people are
don't
so
see
awesome.
much. Even when it's hateful,
No.
they're almost worried now to say anything because there's other people ready to go like
I
this.
know. I know. It's so great that people take care of it. I don't even have to deal with it anymore.
We've got
Like,
a
it's like,
great community.
really,
Incredible.
and
And I
it's
can't wait to see what else comes out of this because when we don't have to do this anymore, I don't want this to leave.
it won't. That's why I'm telling you. Like today on my live, I was talking about really let's build a platform for girls. Let's get girls, because right now girls who are lost are
Oh,
going
that's so cool.
trans.
I have to see it because I was busy when it was on.
You know,
But
so you could be like, I just want to build a platform where girls can see other girls who are possibly masculine or aren't a traditional girls. And I think if they start to see that and have mentorship with older, butch girls or older girls who are working
and
in
I
this,
can be very, very masculine. And androgynous was a word that saved me. I
there
love
you
that
go.
word
But they're not
because
seeing that. The young kids aren't, the young girls who are struggling are only seeing trans. They're not seeing, well, I could just be a girl who wears like you, a baseball cap and hair, and you know what I mean, wearing baggy pants. Like, why can't girls just be that without being
yeah,
shoved
and
into
my
trans?
clothes are fluid. It's just an outfit. Sometimes I feel like
That's
wearing a
right.
big poofy dress. Other days I feel like wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
That's
It's different
right.
depending on how comfortable I am that day,
It could
what
be
I want to
anything.
wear, or
That's
just like
right.
I just love my clothes. And not to be like all girly, but I love the clothes that I have, the whole spectrum of them. There we
Because you
go.
get to
Clothing is a
be.
spectrum.
Well, clothing is, but also because you just get to be. You don't feel like you're forced into having to grab onto an identity. And I think I think a lot of these kids are kids who struggle right now. Maybe they're very art, art in the art. Maybe they're just weirdos like how I was, right?
Hmm.
Just they like cool, weird things that aren't normal, and then they're immediately shoved into a space because they're not being, like everybody else, and that doesn't make you anything other than just a different kind of person. That's all it is. It doesn't make you
Yeah.
trans because you don't like your new boobs. Like what girl
Yeah.
does?
No, no, it's so uncomfortable. The bleeding is
Eh,
weird.
it's
It scared the
horrible.
crap out of me, and I
Me
hid it
too.
for a week. I hid it for a week, and then I was
Yeah.
finally like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, mom's gonna have to do my laundry. Guess I better
Yep,
tell her."
totally. I totally remember. Yeah, I got the whole thing. I remember it's not comfortable to, like I said earlier, it's different for girls than boys. Puberty. Girls have to really all of a sudden grow into all this sexualized space where I think boys don't deal with that as much. I think they
No,
deal with it, but it
not
doesn't
like
really.
because they've still got creepy uncles too.
Totally.
But
Boys get it too,
yeah,
100%. But I
but
do
no,
think it's
it's
a
not the
different,
same.
because girls are literally sprouting boobs and having periods, and it's just, and then
It's like
boys are
a
just getting
South Park
pimples.
episode. Like, what
Oh,
is
no,
this?
totally.
How what
Uh,
happened?
totally. Oh my God. Bleh. Horrifying. Like, oh, what is that? I did feel like a boy on my period. I mean, I was like, Mom, I'm
Oh.
bleeding. She's like, it's your period. I'm like, what? What's that?
I punched my pillow. I was like, ugh. So
Oh
I
my.
was kind of a little bit aggressive about it, but I
Well,
did
yeah,
it.
I think because it's gross. But when you get older and you realize how beautiful it is and how it really is part of life and sacred and all
And
of
learn how
those
to take
things.
care of yourself during
That's
it. Like
right.
I do so many, like I drink a lot of beet juice and that helps. I don't get cramps anymore that
There
often.
you
So
go.
like
That's
you have to
actually
find little things that help.
That's right. Let's just start teaching the young girls to, like just be okay with yourself. You'll get through it and then
Mhm.
you'll be amazing how
And
it
just
is.
forget about it. Find your peace. Oh, deal with it
That's
when you
right.
need to, but
That's
just
right,
forget
friend.
about it otherwise because
That's
it's
right,
not.
friend.
Yeah.
So with that, Lizzie, thanks so much for joining me today, and thanks everybody for watching. And leave her awesome, beautiful comments. And I'll see you guys on the live on Wednesday. And remember, like, subscribe, do that little bell thing so you know when I'm coming on. And then I'll see y'all guys next week.
Bye, guys.